Hello, my name is Doug Leisure, and I'm recording this video to give you a demonstration of my newest version of my donation software, what will be releasing here in 2026. So this donation software that I created is Excel based, and it is designed specifically to help churches and nonprofit organizations manage their giving and their financial activity. It does simplify the process of recording your donations, preparing your your bank deposits, and printing those year-end donor receipts. Just as a little bit of history, it's been more than 10 years ago that I initially created this software for our small church here in Western Pennsylvania. They were using a very manual process, and it was time consuming each week, but also at the end of the year when it's time to make the donor receipts, that would take literally days for them to create that. It worked so well for our church that I started sharing this with other churches, and then I created some YouTube videos and started getting requests from people literally all over the world asking for a copy of the software. To date, I've given it to more than 1,600 churches in more than 30 different countries. Okay, before we dive into the demonstration, I did want to also say that about 5 years ago, I was requested for me to please add additional functionality. One of the churches said I also pay the bills as well as doing the donations. Can you please add some functionality that would help me track the expenses as well as creating a report to show the income versus expense. So I added that functionality about 5 years ago, and I would still consider that to be optional functionality. So the expense tracking is optional. Why? Because I still think the majority of you are looking for the donation recording part of it. In fact, that's true of our church as well. We use this software for recording the donations. Our treasurer uses QuickBooks for his portion of the work. So this video today is focused specifically on the donation portion. I'll make a separate video showing the expense portion. Okay, before we dive into the demo, let's just take a quick look at some of the benefits of using this church. Again, more than 1,600 churches are already using it, and this is why they really love the software. It does speed up the weekly donations, and you can do it multiple times per day. So if you have a morning service and you do a collection in the evening service, you can enter those separately. For the nonprofits, you might want to wait till the end of the month and just do one entry encompassing donations across the entire month. The other thing it's done, it allows us to track our giving by member and by fund, or categories. What some organizations call their categories of contributions. It all has some built-in accuracy checks to confirm that what we've recorded matches what we have at the end of the process. Simplifies the bank deposits. We do have that detailed giving history by date, by donor, by fund. Also speeds up our year-end donor receipts. Again, what took days, we can now do in a matter of minutes. You can personalize it for your church, so that you can customize the way the receipts look, the reports. You can even optionally add your church logo to the receipts and the reports, giving you a very professional look. Very flexible and easy to adapt to the needs of your church. I've given you almost 100 different customizable settings, what I call parameters. We also can quickly and easily keep our leadership informed about our donations. A report that we share with our leadership monthly that shows the giving by month and year to date. And we also can track our giving trends over time. I've built in a 5-year comparison so we can see how our giving is growing. Okay, enough about that. Let's take a look at this software. Okay, so we have a simple form that we use for entering our donations each week. Now, when you do get the software, let's just take a moment. This is not the installation video, but I do want you to know that you do, when you receive it, you do have just a little bit of things you need to do to set the software up. One of the very important things is to do your list of donors and assign donor numbers to them. Optionally, you can put in their address, their email address. The software will ship with these 5 columns that are important to make the software work correctly, but you can also optionally add other columns of information that you might want to track for your donors. The other thing we need to do to get things set up quickly is to set up the parameters. This is where you define the information that customizes it to the way you want to use this software. Now, it could be as simple as you just typing in your church name and address. A lot of the parameters that I give you, you can select them right off of a drop down list. So that makes it simple to select a lot of to set up a lot of the parameters. The software, when it ships to you, it does support English, Spanish, Portuguese, Burmese, Japanese, French, simplified Chinese, Korean, and Hindi. Those are all built right in, and you would just select that then from the language drop down. Oh, and if you need a language other than these ones, it is designed in a way that you can add your own language to the software. Okay, so if you are going to use this in a language other than English, that would be one of the most important things that you select first, because then all of your parameters, actually the entire software, will display in your chosen or selected language. But also, very importantly, is that all of the drop downs then will display in your language. So you want to set that one first. All right, I'll put it back to English as we continue on. Another important thing for you to set up would be those categories that you use at your church or your nonprofit for your donations. How many do you want to use? I allow you to track up to 20 different categories. And what do you call them? What's the names that you use for your various categories or funds? So enter those. Oh, and we do support in-kind, or what some people refer to as non-cash donations. All right, well, once you've done that little bit of setup, then you're ready to begin the entry for your donations. Okay, and our entry is done on this simple form. When you receive it, you have 20 blank rows for entering your donations. There is a parameter that you set to tell it how many blank rows you want to use when you first start the software. So if you need 20, great. If you need 75, you just set that parameter and you'll have 75 blank rows when you begin. The software, I've also provided a custom menu, right? If you're used to Excel's standard menus and their little ribbon that they use, I've created my own custom ribbon with the menu items on here that you need to interact with the software. And so if any particular week that you're doing your donations, you see that you're starting to run out of room, well, hey, that's a great problem to have. So you just come up to my menu and you say that just click the entry here to insert additional blank entry rows. And you can do that as many times as you need to. All right. Again, the idea is that you're entering your donor number. It'll do a little lookup and confirm that this is the name for that donor number, and then you enter the donation. Um, you can enter that. You can enter the cash amounts that were donated, the check amounts that were donated, right? You also have the option to enter the electronic fund type donations. That could be Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, credit cards, any of those electronic fund donations. You enter the amount that was donated, and then what category the person wanted it to go into. Okay, so you notice that when I first entered it, entered the cash or check or EFT amount, that the name went red. This is our checks that we're doing to make sure our checks and balances to make sure that what we entered as the donation amount in total is distributed correctly into our donation categories. And why do we do this? Well, two reasons. One is sometimes our donors do the math in their head and, quite honestly, get it incorrect, right? And so what they distribute into their different categories doesn't really match the amount that they gave us. Secondarily, as the people that are doing the entry, hey, we make mistakes as well. Sometimes our fingers hit the wrong button, right? And so we want to confirm and validate before we go on to the next donation that this one is correct. And it seems like such a simple process, but I'll tell you from experience, this thing of getting it right for this donor before we move on literally has saved us hundreds of hours over the course of using the software. Just this simple thing of getting this one right before you move on. Okay, the other thing that is important for our church, I know we print the list of our donors and tape it to the wall, so we can use that each week. But I did provide also an option for you to look up the donor by name, so you don't have to memorize their donor number. So as you start typing, then we will build a list of those donors from your donor list that match what you've typed. And ultimately just simply select the donor you want, click the OK, and it'll insert the donor number for you. So a lookup by name, very important. The other thing I wanted to say is that we have our standard categories that we use, week after week, month after month, year after year. But then we know that what happens, and I know for our church, this happens. It seems like every month we have these special offerings that are taking place. They might last for a week, they might last for multiple weeks, but we have special offerings. So the software does support unlimited special offerings. and this would be a good example of Natalie. She gave us a donation, her standard donation that she always does. But then when she got to church, she realized, hey, we're doing this special donation today for our Awana program. And she gave us a second donation. So she put another $10 in the envelope that she wanted to go to the Awana program. So we just put the dollar amount in the specials column, and in the name of special column, there's where we can type in the word Awana, or you can optionally create your list of drop-down items. So just your custom list here, and if you do that, then those items are available through a drop-down. So it's a pretty simple form that we use then for doing our donation entry. Okay, once you're done with that process, we have another couple steps that we go through, and very important for us, and that is a reconciliation process. So at the end of our donations, we're sitting here with this pile of cash and a pile of checks in front of us, and we want to go through a reconciliation. Okay, and so what we do is we just simply start counting how many of the different coins or paper bills did we get, and we enter the quantities, not the amount, the quantities. And we do that because most organizations like ours are using volunteers to do this kind of work, and some of them are better than others at counting cash. Others don't work with cash all the time, and so doing the math in the head sometimes can be problematic. So we just said, look, we know that anybody can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so just do that. Count the quantities, enter the quantity that you counted, and let Excel do the math. Okay, and so you notice that as we're going down through it, we are comparing the quantities versus the total given, and it's red until things are in balance. In a very similar way, we do the same thing to reconcile the checks. So here we're asking you to go back through and enter the amounts that you find of the different checks, and just enter each amount, and then it'll let Excel do the math to sum it up and compare that to the total that you entered in the check column up above. And so once the red goes away, that's our reconciliation process. Very important to make sure that what we entered in detail matches what we have in total for the cash and the checks. The other important thing here is we're going to take the checks and the cash to the bank and do a bank deposit. So this information, and this will print out on a separate piece of paper, this information then is our bank deposit. The other thing we'll print out is then the totals by category. Again, for our church, our treasurer uses QuickBooks, so this is the little bit of information then that he needs to enter into his QuickBooks system each week. Okay, when we are done with the detail entry above, with our reconciliation process, then we are ready for the software to move on. And again, within the donation software, this is the menu that we use to interact with the donation software. We have an entry here called a menu item here called Entry is Complete, and that's what we click on when we are done entering this week's donations. And it will print the information here. The detail is on a separate piece of paper, the bank deposit and the summary information. It'll print that for us. It'll also record the information here on the annual tab, which is really where we have all of our history across multiple years, recorded by date, by donor, and by category. We do also then record the information there, whether the money was donated through checks, cash, or electronically, and if you put in check numbers or the type of EFT, that information is recorded here as well. From the list of information that we have here, this history, we can build reports that we share with our leadership, as well as our year-end receipts. So at the end of the year, we will build a receipt. Now, the lot of flexibility on the parameter side, where you can adjust a lot of the words that show up here. You can optionally add a church logo here to make a very professional looking receipt. And as far as printing them, just a couple clicks is all it takes. We can print our annual receipts. Click yes, I want to print all the receipts. It marches down through your list of donors and prints a receipt for every one of them. Okay, interesting thing for the receipts is that on your donor list, we have this column here. We can say, for everyone individually, do I want to print a receipt for them, yes or no? So we have some people in our congregation that say, don't bother printing a receipt for me. I really don't use it. We also have that concept of the loose offerings, the cash just thrown in the offering. So there's no name associated with that. So there's really no reason to print a receipt. So we can say no, skip over that, and don't print a receipt for that. If you do turn on, we have a parameter to turn on the option for emailing receipts, right? So if you turn that on, then you have the option for the software to actually directly email the receipts to your donors. Now, let's be clear. You do need on a PC to have Microsoft Outlook installed and working properly. On a Mac, you would have your Apple Mail installed and working correctly. You need that. Because the software uses Outlook or Apple Mail to do the receipts directly. And if you do turn that on, then you do need to test the email system, and I gave you a menu item to do that testing. You would specify then an email address to use for that testing to confirm that the sample receipt comes back to you and your email system works correctly. But then if you turn that on, then you do have the option then for your, again, by donor by donor, say yes, I want to print a receipt. No, you can skip over them, or automatically send the email through Outlook or Apple Mail. If you don't have any of those, you still have the option to actually print the receipt to a PDF file, and then you can go into your email system and attach this PDF file to that. So we give you a lot of options and flexibility. Okay, I mentioned the reports that we share with our leadership every month, and so this is an example of what that would look like. Again, a lot of flexibility to adjust how this works. Not only do you have the flexibility to customize the report, we also have a so this report that we give to our leadership shows the totals by category by month, and then we can see how we're doing year to date. Over time, you will have lots of data stored in here, multiple years of information, and so we also can produce a 5-year comparison, so we can see over time how we're doing, and ideally that our donations are growing over time. Not only do we have the option to print this, but for our various reports, you have the option to say, no, I want to actually, instead of printing it, I want to send a PDF copy of those reports using the email system. And so here you just simply say, how should the reports be printed? Yes would send it to the printer. Selecting email would allow the system to generate an email message, or you do if you're not using Outlook or Apple Mail, you can also create a PDF version of the report and attach it through your email system. If you choose email, then you can customize the subject of the email and design your own text for the email body, as well as defining the email address or addresses for where the reports should go. So that's also true of the information we send of the weekly donation. You can actually send that via email as well, instead of printing it. So again, a lot of flexibility built into the software. Okay, so we talked about how simple the donation entry is, how you enter and manage your donor list, how we keep the information, the history here in the software, and again, we're using Microsoft Excel, so it's very simple to see the information here in Excel. It's not stored in a database where you have to have a database knowledge or a database guru to help you manage things. The other thing to understand is we are human, so we will make mistakes. So let's just talk briefly about that. So if we make a mistake on our donation entry, the history is recorded here, and this is where we would go to fix it. Now, most of the worksheets tabs on the software are protected so that you don't accidentally get in here and change things accidentally. However, if we did make a mistake, we need to go here and fix it. All right, so what we would do is just simply come here to the Annual tab. Our first step would be to unprotect this worksheet tab so that we now are permitted to make modifications. So like in this case, I see that we accidentally typed Dylan's number, his donor number is 201 instead of 101. So we unprotect the sheet and make our modification to fix the problem, and then we just simply protect the sheet again. Please never put in a password, just leave the password empty so that we don't have to worry about remembering the password anytime we need to make that change. So just it's very easy to make adjustments if we did make a mistake. All right, we talked about the receipts and how you can customize it. By default, the receipts will display as monthly totals, but we do have some options there. Let's go down to the receipts. You do have some options about how those receipts are created. Our default is the monthly view. You can also do weekly totals. You can do a combination of monthly and weekly totals. I don't think many people are using that particular option. You also can do what's called the detailed receipt, and what that'll do is it just simply display one row for every donation that the person did, and so it is showing pretty much the detail of what they donated. And you also have the option to do all details, and that just simply means including the information about was it a cash donation or a check donation or EFT. So all of the details are printed there. So a lot of flexibility in how the receipts are created for you. Okay, well I think that gives you a pretty good demonstration of how the software works and a lot of the flexibility that I've provided for you. What are your next steps? Well, if you like what you're seeing and you're interested in a copy of this, I'm going to put my email address in the description of this video, and so you can just send me an email requesting a copy of the donation. You might also instead want to jump out to my website. I will put the website address in the description as well. You can come to my website and get more information about my donation software. I will continue to create additional videos as we move through time. You can also download the user guide, and you'll find my contact information there as well. All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to give you this demonstration of the newest version of my donation software. And again, reach out if you would like a copy of it.